Hey, today I'm going to be telling you my life story, and since this is YouTube, who's going to stop me, right? So, my life's been, eh, not much different than other people's probably, but, I mean, I feel it needs to be shared. So, I grew up in a right-wing religious family. Anything that I did that went against the religion was punished. My father strongly physically abused me until I was 14. He went after my mother, too. I was punished for telling the counselors at school about it. My father often hit me for a half an hour at a time. He used both belt and hands, and hit me everywhere, including my testicles. I grew to distrust men and stopped believing fathers existed. I was heavily made fun of and hurt in school because I was different. I loved and cared about everyone, and people hurt me because my love, apparently, was not that common. Apparently, not many people feel that way anymore. This entire time, I clung to religion. I trusted God was putting me through this for a reason. I mean, when I was in 6th grade, my father wanted me to join a sports team, so I chose the basketball team. I wasn't much good, so one day during the practice, the coaches walked away, and the entire team beat the shit out of me while they watched. If it wasn't for the one guy on the team with some fucking integrity, I would have probably broken some bones. With nowhere to turn for people to trust, I slowly began going insane. I would scream out random words, developed odd vocal patterns, and began blacking out and waking up to discover I'd done horrible things, which just pushed me further into the hatred of my fellow students. But still, I clung to religion. I clung to it all the way up to sophomore year of high school, when someone wouldn't let up. You see, I particularly loved cats, so people went out of their ways to describe cats being brutally hurt. So one day I couldn't take it anymore and screamed out, "You motherfuckers won't leave me alone! I've done nothing to hurt you, but still you see fit to hurt me. I thought you guys would have the love I do, the Christian love, but love's a lie, and society is slowly decaying." This was the first day I ever swore, and also the day I lost religion. Junior year of high school seemed to be better. People respected and feared me, and I actually had a few friends. During spring semester, 2 days after my birthday, everything came to a head. I had a local comic shop I loved where I went to after school and hung out. They were the only people that seemed to get me. Well, 2 days after my birthday, it burned to the ground. I was devastated. Meanwhile, my girlfriend's father verbally abused her, so she started cutting herself. I couldn't do anything about it. I wanted to, but there's nothing you can do about it, a junior student in high school. And last but not least, my brother found out that I was bisexual. I'm gay now, but back then I was thinking that I was into women because that's the way I was raised. But he told my dad about it. He outed me to my family. My dad spent the next few days making fun of me and generally making my life a living hell. All of this stuff came together and I couldn't deal. I tried to off myself. Once with a calligraphy pen, and once when I was thinking about drinking something cleaning fluid-wise. They checked me into a mental hospital where I stayed for about a week. I was trapped there, unable to leave. They waited until after my family left, after telling me that I could check myself out any time that I wanted to tell me that if I checked out early, my insurance probably wouldn't pay for it, and my family would be responsible for the thousands of dollars a day it cost to stay there. So, fucking thanks a lot. I was scared. They only let me talk to my family for 5 minutes every day. When I finally got out by lying that the medication was working, they diagnosed me with bipolar. I mean, no fucking shit, I'm messed up, doctors. Wouldn't you be messed up if you had to deal with the shit I did? I began experimenting around with the occult at that point, and ended up getting involved in some pretty dark shit, which followed me around for a few years after that. I grew my hair out long to hide my eyes, because I could see something staring back at me in the mirror. They stared into the blackness of my soul, and I was afraid of myself. A strange man kept stalking me. I would feel him outside my window at night, and I didn't know what to do. I ended up burning the occult book that I had used, but up until a few months ago, there was still something following me. These were my dark years. I then moved to Evansville. to 7 hours away from home. I had no car on campus, no friends, and no way to get home. My family visited me once every 2 months or so. I started doing drugs. I started smoking cigarettes. They were the only things that seemed to help my bipolar. Then at the end of October, I tried K3 or Spice, the fake marijuana. That stuff, I ended up in a hospital. My heart was beating really fast. I was having a heart attack, throwing up. I was close to losing consciousness, and my limbs weren't working properly. To which my roommates just told me to go to sleep and laughed at me. I ended up having to get help myself. My eye sockets were sunken. I was dying. They finally managed to get me to the emergency room, but my heart has never been the same since, and neither has my mind. I haven't been able to be as artistic as I used to. I can't think the way that I used to. It fucked up my life. I had my first heart attack at 19 years old. After that, every few months I would have a mini heart attack, panic disorder, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and would end up in the hospital again. The bills were huge, so I ended up having to pay for them. Luckily, I had a trust fund. I became a living, feelingless zombie for several weeks after my first heart attack and thought that I was actually dead and already in hell. Then I moved to Fort Wayne the next year. Everything seemed to be going a little bit better, but then my depression started rapidly cycling, and I found out that the medications that they had given me for my depression were not helping, because it was major depression, not bipolar. I was misdiagnosed. I became afraid of the outside world. I would stay in my room all day playing video games and trying to deal. The second semester rolled around, my computer broke, and I met some amazing friends because of it, and finally started to change my life a bit. I started doing transcendental meditation, and because of that, I've been able to gradually work my way out of my depression. Then, last fall, I fell in love with a man named John Eckert. He was amazing. We had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. And then I visited him in Jersey twice, spent thousands of dollars, and then he broke up with me on Christmas Eve. I didn't know what to do. And then this past year, January rolls around, and my grandmother passes away on January 18th of lung complications after fighting a year. She passes away the day after she enters hospice. She was one of my favorite people. Then the next day, my uncle Randy, passes away. He loses his fight with leukemia. After that, I went through a total of 5 or 6 more boyfriends before finally meeting the love of my life, Nathaniel Biesmeyer. He was amazing. I finally had found somebody that I resonated with, that understood me, and because of this, I am finally somewhat happy. But then he started running into money problems, and I ended up getting let go from Walmart, terminated unofficially because of my sexual orientation. They made up some bullshit reasons to fire me. So I have been out of work since July, writing, trying to find something to do. My boyfriend is having money problems now too, and I just don't know what to do. That is my life story. Thank you for listening.